Welcome back to the deep dive. You know how technical certifications, they really force you to boil down just massive amounts of information, get right to the critical
Up
stuff.
to high-stakes knowledge points.
Exactly. So today, we're actually going to exploit that structure. We're using the framework of the Avaya 64022T certification. That's the deep admin dive into Avaya Cloud Office to basically build your operational playbook.
Yeah, and our goal here, it's really not about prepping for the exam itself. It's more about strategic readiness.
Mm.
We want to move beyond just knowing the setting names and focus on the why. Why is this setting important for risk? Why does that deployment method save so much more time?
Right.
We're pulling together the absolute essentials for system config, security, compliance, and really operational efficiency, turning those facts into stuff you can actually use.
And just to ground us, this whole exercise, it pulls from a framework that demands precision. We're talking 40 questions, 60 minutes, you need 70%, 28 correct to pass.
So,
It is. And that pressure cooker environment, it's kind of the perfect filter, isn't it? To make sure we're only hitting the knowledge that truly matters on the job. So let's stop thinking just settings and start thinking critical phases of deployment.
sounds good. Let's start right at the beginning, establishing that professional identity and scaling up your workforce efficiently.
Okay, let's unpack this playbook. First thing, projecting the brand, right? If you've got hundreds of users making calls out, you need consistency.
Absolutely. You can't have random numbers or individual names popping up.
No. So what's that single setting an admin tweaks to control the name that shows up for outside callers?
That's the company caller ID name. Seems simple, I know, but it's actually a critical piece of governance.
How so?
Well, if you don't set it centrally, you risk ambiguity, inconsistency. Setting that company caller ID name ensures every outbound call to an external party shows a consistent professional identifier, like Acme Corp Sales or something.
Okay, so everyone knows who's calling. It aligns with the brand.
Exactly. Every single interaction.
That makes sense. Key control point. Now, let's shift inside. Scalability. A lot of places might just have admins manually checking security boxes, configuring roles one by one. Why is that? Why is that a flawed approach when you need to scale up? And what
That's-
fixes it?
It's fundamentally flawed because, honestly, manual config just invites errors. You get configuration drift, inconsistencies, security holes even, and it just wastes so much time.
Okay.
The system solution is the user template. And this isn't just a nice to have, it's really more like a governance tool.
Yeah.
It has two big strategic benefits, and they're kind of linked.
The first being, I assume, quick provisioning, speed.
Exactly. That's the obvious one. Quick provisioning of standard settings, it cuts onboarding time way down. Hours per user, maybe down to minutes.
Wow.
But the second benefit, that's the real strategic win. It ensures just ironclad consistency across your security policies. It predefines configurations, roles, permissions.
I see.
So if your standard needs complex passwords or specific access rights, the template guarantees it. 100% compliance right from the start. That dramatically cuts down your administrative risk.
I like that focus on risk mitigation. Okay, you sold me on the software side. We've standardized the user via the template. Now, the physical tools, the desk phone, say the J100 series, how do we deploy those with similar speed and governance? What's the quickest setup method that still keeps admin oversight?
Right, we need to be clear here. While the ultimate aim might be, zero-touch deployment, where the phone just finds its config automatically.
Like using the MP address.
Yeah, exactly. But for initial setup, and especially for certain hardware like those J100s, the fastest administrative method is actually assisted provisioning.
Okay, what's the practical difference for the admin there?
Assisted provisioning uses an activation code. The new phone, you plug it in, it boots up, displays a unique code right on the screen. The admin, or even the user sometimes, just punches that short code into the Avaya Cloud Office portal, and boom, the phone automatically pulls down its config, links to the right extension, applies the template.
So it's quick, secure.
And you don't have to manually preload every single device MEC address into the system beforehand. Streamlines the whole deployment logistics quite a bit.
Okay, so we've moved from setup to the dynamic stuff, high volume operations. Let's look at the features for managing active calls, keeping things fluid and professional day to day.
Yeah, this is where flexibility is key. Imagine like a busy ops floor or maybe a shared reception desk. User takes a priority call, needs to hand it off, but the colleague isn't right there at their phone.
Right.
We need to hold that call so anyone available in that group can grab it from a different phone, not a blind transfer, something else. What's the feature for that?
That's call parking. It basically turns the call into sort of a shared resource temporarily.
Doesn't work. The user puts the active call into a system parking slot,
Hmm.
usually identified by like a specific code or an extension number. Then any other authorized user can just dial that code or press a button and retrieve the call instantly.
Ah, okay.
It's really vital for those flexible office setups or anywhere you have quick, sort of ad hoc handoffs happening.
Mm-hmm.
Stops calls getting stuck on one person's hold button.
Makes sense. Call parking for fluid handoffs.
Mm.
Okay, next step, the call queue. This is the lifeblood for customer interaction, right?
Absolutely.
So when an admin's setting one up, they're trying to balance, customer experience, low wait times with agent efficiency. What are the two absolute must-have configurations you need to define to keep that balance and stop customers just giving up?
Yeah, you absolutely cannot build a solid queue without two things nailed down. First, you have to define the queue's overflow destination.
Overflow, meaning where calls go if no one answers.
Exactly. Or if the queue's full or the caller's been waiting too long, you have to plan for that peak volume or after hours scenario. Where does the call go? Voicemail, another department, an auto attendant. If you skip this,
Calls just drop.
calls just drop, which is, terrible for business.
Definitely. Okay, so that handles the too much volume issue. What about managing the agents inside the queue?
That's the second critical piece. Configuring the specific ring strategy for the agents in that queue.
Ring strategy, like how the calls are handed out.
Precisely. Does it ring everyone simultaneously? Does it go round robin? Does it try to find the person who's been idle longest? Getting this right is key to optimizing agent utilization and the caller experience.
I can see that if you ring everyone at once in a big team.
Yeah, you could just create chaos and stress. So choosing the right strategy, simultaneous, uniform, round robin, that choice is fundamental to queue productivity.
Let's shift gears a bit now
Okay.
to the back-end admin tasks, stuff that's crucial for system health, security, and especially safety, those non-negotiable oversight things. Let's start with security. The audit trail. That's our record of truth,
It
right?
is. It's the admin's forensic toolkit, basically.
So for compliance reviews, for troubleshooting, what are the two specific types of information it logs that make it so vital?
Okay, the audit trail tells the story of everything happening behind the scenes. Critically, it records, first, any changes made to system configurations by an administrator.
Ah, accountability.
Exactly. You know precisely who changed that call queue strategy or who adjusted the company caller ID and exactly when they did it.
So if something goes wrong, you can trace the last change. Makes sense. What's the second type of info it logs?
Second, and this is just as crucial for proactive security monitoring, it records login attempts, both the successful ones and the failed ones.
Yeah.
This is often your first red flag for potential unauthorized access attempts. You see tons of failed logins from somewhere weird. The audit trail flags that risk immediately. It helps you spot unauthorized actions, and it's indispensable for proving compliance during audits.
Got it. Okay, speaking of security and admin cleanup, user lifecycle. An employee is leaving the company permanently. We need to make sure there's zero leftover access and also, optimize costs. We could just disable the account maybe. But the sources seem pretty clear. What's the most appropriate action for their user extension?
Yeah, the most appropriate action, unequivocally, is to delete the user extension.
Not just disable. Why delete?
While disabling might seem safer initially, deleting is the clean break. It tackles both security and license optimization head-on. When you delete the extension,
Everything's gone. Credentials, voicemail.
everything associated with it, credentials, call logs, voicemail, it prevents any possibility of lingering unauthorized access.
Yeah.
And crucially, it immediately frees up that license and the system resources tied to it.
Ah, the license part.
Right. Keeping licenses tied to disabled accounts is a hidden cost. Admins need to just eliminate that right away.
That's a great point, focusing on license utilization. Okay, let's move to something that's potentially life or death. E911 safety. We talked about assisted provisioning being fast, but when an admin physically swaps out a user's desk phone, what's the single non-negotiable admin step they must do no matter how quickly the new device seems to connect?
This is where, honestly, human oversight is still paramount for physical safety. Even if that new phone comes online perfectly, pulls its config, the absolute key administrative task is updating the 911 emergency address setting for that specific new device.
Wow, why does that one piece of data override all the automation? Why is it so manual?
Because E911 dispatch for these kinds of systems, it's based on the registered physical location linked to that device's extension,
Yeah.
not GPS like on a mobile, usually.
Okay.
So if a user moves desks, say from the third floor down to the first, or you swap out their phone and forget to register the new hardware's physical location, if they dial 911,
Emergency services go to the old spot.
They go to the last registered address. Could be the wrong floor, wrong building, maybe even where the old phone used to be.
Hmm.
It's absolutely the administrator's responsibility to keep that physical location data current. It saves critical response time.
Yeah. That's a powerful reminder about where the admin's final check really matters. Okay, last one in this section. Admins need to justify the system, right? Show its value. How do they get past just anecdotes and actually monitor system usage? See if they're getting ROI, spot bottlenecks.
For that, they turn to the adoption and usage reports. These are the tools for deep analytics on communication efficiency.
What kind of data are we talking about?
Things like total call volume, call duration stats, crucially, the number of missed calls over time, feature adoption rates. An admin uses these not just to track basic usage, but to proactively find where communication might be breaking down. Well, maybe a really high volume of missed calls points to a badly configured call queue, right? Or maybe low adoption of a key feature means more training is needed. It gives you actionable insights.
Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap up this admin deep dive, let's touch briefly on that internal layer that really helps day-to-day interactions,
Yeah.
the collaboration tools, specifically the value of presence indicators.
Yeah, presence. Those little green, yellow, red dots next to someone's name showing if they're free, busy on a call, whatever. These seem pretty basic, but what are the two core benefits they actually bring to a business, like real productivity gains?
The benefits are really tied directly to cutting down friction in how people communicate internally. The first one's pretty clear. Enhanced communication efficiency.
Meaning?
Meaning knowing someone's status instantly helps you pick the right way to reach out. Is it urgent enough for a call if they're free, or maybe just send a chat if they're busy, or an email they can get to later? It stops you wasting time trying to reach someone who's unavailable.
Okay, makes sense. Less wasted effort. What's the second benefit? You mentioned two.
The second is about increased transparency of user availability. And what that really does is dramatically reduce unnecessary interruptions.
The cost of being interrupted.
Exactly. Every time someone gets pulled away from what they're doing unnecessarily, it takes real time for them to refocus. Presence reduces that cognitive load across the whole company by letting people just silently check someone's status before they interrupt across a big organization. That adds up to massive productivity gains.
We really hope this deep dive leaves you feeling better equipped to manage your cloud communication system with both speed and that strategic confidence.